Yep, we're live.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I know it's horrible. Let's edit that out. Let's start over.
No, we can't do that now.
Oh,
It's done now.
oh, lovely. Okay, good morning. This is the team meeting 14 for Oplerno, and we've got our agenda. So let's, we've had our friendly banter earlier. I am still suffering from the fact that my wife is still gone in Peru climbing, and so I'm really looking forward to her returning so that my life can get back to normal, more or less.
She's climbing. I thought she was visiting family or something like that. So.
No, she got hired by a local college to co-lead a expedition and class down in Peru. And so right now she's climbing some peak I can't pronounce, today and tomorrow. No, that's this is a little bit off the Inca Trail, and but it's pretty high. I think it's 18,000 feet. And I haven't. We got a sat phone call from her a couple days ago, but she's been out of contact for 7-8 days.
Wow.
Which is pretty cool. It was funny talking with the kids in that when I used to travel, you'd be out of contact. There was no Skype, and now you can. I mean, we're looking forward when she's back in Cusco before she flies out to have a quick conversation. Daniel, her family is from half is from India, half is from Boston. Okay. So, but she's got that anywhere. She and the kids have the anywhere world. They can blend in anywhere, where their father does not have that ability. He's rather limited. It
with the plaid shorts and the Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah, exactly. And the Izod, the alligator, on the side. It just doesn't work, in certain places. So I have to hang out here. Things are. I will be very excited for when she goes. What was it like down in the southern parts of for your trip with the hills? You guys do a lot of camping. Did you get bears? Did you get hit by bears, grizzlies, or stuff like that? No.
No. In Europe, they've basically. I mean, especially in the Western Europe, they've killed off all the local dangerous fauna. As much as possible, so we don't have any wolves or bears. There was a wolf last year, and they thought they saw a cougar a couple of years ago, but this all it's basically like Bigfoot. You don't get stuff like that here.
Yeah, I think the megafauna in Europe pretty much were wiped out. I think about 1,000 years ago, in large numbers. Anyway.
They all went to sandwiches.
Yeah. Dan, what's up with you?
Me?
Yeah. What did you do this weekend?
Oh, we got piglets and lambs, and planted a pig garden full of squash and pumpkins so that we can buy less feed. Played soccer, won our match, and watched the X Games a little bit. Watched the U.S. soccer game. Got a lot done around here. Productive.
Yeah, so butternut squash?
Yeah, it'll be butternut and pie pumpkins.
Yeah, if you get the chance to feed them the seeds have the same effect on their body chemistry that acorns do.
Oh, cool.
So you get that, I can't remember what it is, whether it's prosciutto or something else, but you can, if you feed them large amounts of acorns, they get that really good taste in the ham.
Nutty flavor, yeah.
Yep. But you can do that with butternut squash. That's what Eric does at Rockville Market.
Oh, sweet. If you need any butternut squash in the fall, I'm your guy.
Yeah, we're gonna be ordering up. I'm almost done the freezer full of pork and beef, so we'll be ordering up another half a pig or
Oh, sweet.
half.
Yeah, we found a few more too, so we'll have plenty.
What do you got now? 20 or so?
We have 8 pigs and 40 sheep, but we might get like 15 pigs total. It just goes. People love it, obviously.
Yeah, yeah, and those pigs get big.
They get big.
Yep, big quick.
Yeah. Yeah, they're really adorable right now, but they'll get unruly and ornery soon enough so that you don't feel as bad eating them.
Yep. Yep, exactly. Life as a hobbit. Oh, did you find the secret source of the heady topper?
No, I'm on a 30-day challenge to not drink beer.
Oh, well,
I'm going till the 4th of July.
okay.
Well, check it
All right.
3 week challenge, you mean? Not 3 day. Yeah.
What's that?
It's a 3 week challenge, you mean, not 3 day challenge?
Well, I started a week ago.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go through the agenda now. First one, how much content does a prof need for final approval? That came up with you, Dan. Any more thoughts?
I mean, yeah, I emailed somebody, and I wrote basically, let me find it. I essentially said, look, we want the course to feel both to Oplerno and to the instructor and to the student that it's ready and it's worth taking. I was like, we don't want egregious spelling errors, stuff like that. We want the syllabus to be thorough and upfront. But my main point was, remember, you don't want students signing up, logging in on day one, and not seeing something that they feel is worth taking. You want to knock it out of the park with your content, approach, syllabus, creativity. I said, I know it's not a hard and fast checklist that you can go through, but everyone's creating their courses so differently that we don't want to, there's no point, and we don't want to have a top-down rigid set of check boxes just because we feel it's necessary. Everybody's content is so different. You don't teach bio like you might teach history, like you might teach astrology or astronomy. But
yeah, let's not teach astrology, or we'll get
I get
absolutely taken to the carpet by the accreditors. Yep.
I get those mixed up. It's bad. It's bad. But
you should have been watching Cosmos on Fox, and Mr. Tyson would have disabused you of that notion.
Astronomy. Astronaut.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, that's, when, and really, like we've said, like there's been times where I've taught and you're preparing a few weeks ahead of time just because you don't have the time to do it all at once as much as you'd like to. So, but that led me back to, all right, so is it, if someone feels like 6 weeks content is sufficient and they're like, I want to offer it, do we let them because ultimately it's their product? I know it also reflects product course. It also reflects on our, across the school, across a Oplerno level of quality. But I don't know if it's 6 weeks plus another 6 weeks of outline, 6 weeks of content, 4 weeks of content.
Yeah, at a school that I worked at, which will not be named, okay, and when I was doing some online work for, the variation in terms of the amount of stuff that people would have ready, okay, was all over the map. And what it did is unfortunately, it created management problems for the people who were in charge, because what you eventually, unfortunately, devolve into is, well, in such and such's class, there were only, I only had to prepare 6 weeks worth of material. So I think we really have to, you know, we really need 12 weeks of content. Does that mean that, every single discussion question is set? No.
Right.
Um, but because I think the comments from some faculty members about how they like to modify their content as they're going through the class is a good one. But I think we need to stick. I think we need to stick with our guns to this. Otherwise, uh, things are gonna devolve.
I think that's a good plan. I mean, I'd rather. It's easier for us to be good at what we do if that's the case. Like the three of us will have less um, smaller discussions if everyone sticks to a 12-week rule.
Yeah, I also don't want to get into the situation of students taking classes and the faculty members scrambling to produce stuff just ahead, and the students are like, wait, this assignment was late being posted. I don't want to get into that management nightmare because it'll destroy us in terms of the quality if we're
Right.
having to check up and follow, what faculty are doing. So let's stick with the, not
And I
everything
think it's
has.
also
Go,
I think
go
also the
ahead.
production value suffers if if they're too close to the deadline, the production value suffers. Just the video just won't be smoother or not edited. So which it is. We already saw with the recent posting by Dan Drilling, by the way, the one you mailed around. There was a brilliant, absolutely brilliant video. And the production value was just a little bit too. Yeah, what do you call it? It just had to be edited properly. Oh yeah, sorry about it. It just hadn't been edited properly, or there was some sounds in the background. There's some things which could have been smoothed out, which would have made it even better than it was already.
Yeah, I think from what I was able to get through, in terms of the what you said in terms of the audio quality, I agree. The production values will be a lot lower. So let's
And
stick with the
we don't have deadlines. There's no, like, the semester doesn't start August
right.
10th. So it's not, the impetus is solely on the instructor for all the reasons that they want their course listed. However, you don't have to do it by any time other than the time at which you want to offer it. So ultimately, it's your call. Whatever as an instructor one wants to do, that will work.
Yeah,
So
let's stick with it with what we've got right now, but just explain to them, hey,
yeah. Maybe
I'd also be really concerned with changing the policy because of dealing with accreditation. I mean, we're going to be under the microscope, and to have half-offer courses is going to make the accreditation issues more complex, and I don't really want to. I don't
but
want
in
to deal
theory,
with
after
that.
the first run through, it would be complete. I still agree with our policy, but just to throw that devil's advocate in there, it's after one 12-week course cycle, all the content would be there.
Sure,
But,
and the fact is that people can modify it afterwards without a problem.
yeah.
So, and that's just good. That's just good pedagogy, is to constantly change your course based on feedback.
Should we? I know we talked about starting a blog, kind of just like one-way or two-way conversation, but thoughts on stuff. Would this be something good to post on a blog and saying, like, this is why we do what we do, or do we email, or do we just post it on this video, or what?
Yeah, I think that's a topic for a longer discussion of how we're doing our outreach, which we can get to. I'm going to add that as an agenda item right now, and let's talk about that at the end, because maybe the conference, how I'm viewing this conference, that may fill some gaps in. Okay, so. Okay. So, next one is discussion on the conference on Oplernopolouza. Why don't we go to the basically we can go to the conference agenda that I threw out. Basically, I kind of look at the conference as a way to do three things. Well, do multiple things. One is generate buzz like we did in terms of the Indiegogo campaign. Just it generates more traffic. It generates more interest in terms of what people are, people talking about us. But more importantly, I think we're now at 5 or 6 people who are, groups and individuals who are creating these certificate and degree programs, and then they're at various stages. I think before I feel like 100% comfortable in applying for that degree granting authority, I want to make sure that those programs are really up to snuff. And so why not just create the opportunity to gather, whether it's online or whether people come up to Vermont. I know 3 of the different certificate programs are from people in Vermont, and just spend a week or maybe 3-4 days and getting people together and just literally working on this stuff with different kinds of presentations that we can then record and have offered in terms of our content. I don't think the numbers. I don't think we need to worry about this becoming Woodstock yet. But I think that we're going to get at least 50 to 100 visitors coming in and checking out different things that we're up to, and it might also generate the ability for faculty to start again. Faculty are already doing a lot of self-organization. Okay, there are a lot of faculty who are doing outreach, and this might be a way to focus in on doing the outreach, but within the context of that program development and also the context of Oplerno. I also think that it's a way for us to engage students. For example, one of the agenda items, I haven't figured out exactly what day this is going to be, but we want to talk about sort of what general studies would be. Okay, general studies being, sort of the bulk of what you would get in terms of the degree prerequisites that everybody takes. And I think that's a discussion that students should be involved in if we even have specific sort of requirements in disciplines that this is a way to get the word out of hey, students, come and participate and build that university kind of like you want in those programs. So in some ways it's taking a page from traditional higher ed in terms of this is a faculty retreat, but it's also taking a page from Open University, okay, and some of these really great online initiatives that get students involved at the very beginning in terms of the development of the program. I also think it provides focus for us. It gives us something to get the word out about, okay, to create some focus for the marketing versus this summer lull that happens in higher ed. Okay, so we're pushing towards a particular goal.
It's going to be kind of a crunch time for most folks, though. That first week of August, like summer lull would be like in a week or 2.
Yeah. Yeah. However, yeah, I agree with you. I mean,
because if they're not getting their full, income from Oplerno, they're in theory going to be teaching in person at other places while they still can or still need to or whatever. So
and that'll generally be for the adjunct group. That's generally going to be happening in September. Most of that stuff doesn't start up in August. So this, again, I'm thinking of 2. Yes, it would have been nice to do it in July, we're hitting up an issue of, sort of the traditional vacation time. But the neat thing is, instead of people having to come and visit us physically, they can subscribe and we can broadcast all of this virtually, so people can come in and out, picking what they want to see and what they don't. I agree with you, Dan. I don't have a
I just wanted to raise that if our expectations change, that could be a factor. That's all. If it's something you truly believe in, I'm becoming more and more convinced. Then of course I say yes. I'm going to raise it. That's all.
Yeah, let's try it. I think we'll get this is probably this is our first attempt at this. We're going to be running more of these kinds of events, and so we'll try this in terms of an initial run through. And I think it can, I think it'll work. And we'll just, we'll see. A lot of people, not a lot meaning, for us, I've gotten feedback when I talked with people that this would be a great thing to do, getting everybody together. The only issue that I've got is figuring out how to do this technologically. I mean, we have Canvas so that people can, assemble in terms of discussions and even have particular meetings with Canvas. We've got Google Hangouts so that, people can create their own small groups, but we can also broadcast. We've got ways in which the only thing we don't have is in discussions, like in some of these forums, is a way to create true feedback back and forth. And we can do that a little bit with Google Hangouts, but, how do we, I suspect, we'll be able to figure out a way to splice things together. I mean, we can always also host it on Canvas, and record that. And I just think it adds, again, it's going to add a bit of buzz and gives us a focus. Hey, check, why don't you check out Oplernopolouza?
Is that
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, that was just what that's just an idea for a name, but I think it did actually. The name Oplernopolouza did go out on our update. So maybe we can call it something else. But I didn't. Just faculty Oplerno's first faculty retreat.
Formerly known as Oplernopolouza.
Yeah, Oplernopolouza. And we can get T-shirts designed.
We need to spell Palooza as P-A-L-O-O-Z-A if we're going off of the Lollapalooza.
Okay, well then let's switch
now,
that.
That's like a weird seafood.
Really? Well, that can work too. Dude, you know me. I'm not the spelling master. Okay. Obviously not. Okay, so yeah. So we'll switch the we'll switch the spelling and watch me butcher it over the next 2 months.
Or just leave it, I guess, and that way you're always right.
Oh God, no. Let's Jesus. Let's Palooza. Well, no. Actually, if we play off of the other one, then we might get sued for copyright infringement. So who knows? But we'll figure out the spelling later. But the concept, basically, yes, no. I say we give it a shot. Daniel, what's your thoughts?
I'm completely for it. I think the name is great, but I think the idea is really, really good. It has a lot of potential, and all the technical issues of hooking everything together, we'll just sort those all out. We can make it happen.
Go ahead.
Dan.
All right,
Yeah.
I think we you just said we can do it on Google Hangout or on Canvas. I think it'd be cool, we can just set up for for closed or in person or sharing actual files it'd be cool to set up. We can load everyone into a Canvas course. Like we could make the degree program building a collaborative course space on Canvas. We could also broadcast some of the general sessions on Google Hangout. That's a great idea too. But for anything where folks will be either sharing files or editing files or whatever, having a discussion board or comment line, we can just set them up with, okay, you want to make a biology degree, you guys are on general education requirements, you guys are on, astrophysics. Those can all be individual courses, and maybe there's a big group one too, but I'm kind of just envisioning it in Canvas, and I think it's a great secondary use for something we already have, and it would work.
Yeah, that's fine with me. Here's my only concern is that we are going to have a lot of, I want to be able to broadcast all the sessions and have people from outside be able to come in and view the material. So, view the sessions. So, I think you're right. Let's keep the, let's put it all on Canvas because it actually will also be a great incentive for faculty to get completely up to speed with it. And,
we can do that.
Yeah.
You can make certain Canvas courses viewable to the public. You don't want to you want some degree of like, this is not ready for public eyes, and that's totally fine. But there could also be maybe, I don't know, we'll think about it. But it's just a good place to start thinking to host it.
Okay, so let's host, but let's host it on Canvas. Is there any there? And there's no issue in terms of being able to do Google Hangouts for some of the events. It's in terms of what you're talking about is people getting together, forming their teams, and creating this.
Yeah, so just sharing files like that. People just don't need to wade through, even if they are going to give input. There's just stuff that they don't need.
Agreed. So we'll do it all on Canvas with the exception of the broadcast. Now the agenda. So how I'm envisioning it, if you click on that file I uploaded, which is the agenda, it basically is a 9, and I can't get around this Eastern Standard Time except to maybe have a few sessions. I'm creating it so that people who are in Europe can participate in the morning session, okay, and that in the afternoons there's more of the team working sessions that people can do asynchronously.
We could also record a lot of this.
Exactly. Yep. And so people can, the thing that so that people can access it later on, and it also creates more of a library for us. Yep.
But right, I mean, if you went to a conference in India, it would be local time, and we're here, or you're here, really, and that's what it is.
Yeah, but we'll do everything in terms of GMT time. It's just, again, if we're going to be this global, this global organization, then we need to have some sessions that are, live in terms of being live in Asia. So this schedule or agenda isn't fixed in terms of time period, okay? And maybe we'll move some to early morning or late night, so late night my time, so that Asia can participate, which is completely fine. But basically, whether it's 3 or 5 days, if you take a look, you can see that there's areas where there's discussion. The only thing I'm missing is a couple of interesting sessions and discussions about online education. I'm going to be working on those the rest of the week. But it's basically to get people. Here's a basic course. I've got an idea for a degree program. Here's how in 5 days we can move to having at least a very, very good foundation for having a degree program that will then, whose materials we'll be able to use to apply to the state of Vermont for degree granting authority. Because the whole goal of this is that we've got, again, 5 programs that I can use in the application for degree granting authority to the state of Vermont. Because that takes us again to another level. And again, I'm pushing a little bit in terms of the timeline, but I think that also, I think we need to make that next leap, and sooner rather than later.
All right, let's start a Dropbox folder too.
Yeah, I'll throw this in the Dropbox after I get done here, and then we can just set that all up. What are people's thoughts about? So you like it, and let me see. Let me see whether I created. I think I created an Oplernopolouza space on deliverables. Yes. So there's an Oplernopolouza deliverable piece under the deliverables, and it's under a whole lot of different projects.
I just would like to be able to add maybe comments to this document, or what, just a collaborative space.
Yeah. Hold up. Let me just do that right now. Yeah, I'll throw that up right after, Dan.
Yeah, that's cool. Take your time.
And then yeah, then we can completely change and modify it. Okay. Oops. That's one problem with Podio, is that when I switch screens, it takes away the earlier one. I can't do.
Well, use the command and then click to get to a different screen now. So I usually have multiple Podio windows.
Yeah, and that's what I was just thinking. Like, what a noob that I just said that when I could, pull up, do a log on again. We'll have a discussion offline next week when I will talk about the 2 other barriers, the 2 other things that we're going to have to deal with in terms of academic advising for the students in their degree programs, and also the how we're going to manage that. I don't want to let that secret sauce out in an open meeting, to be perfectly honest. But I've got a good handle on the management and the advising piece and how that will add some flexibility, but also some quality and some lower costs for students and some money for faculty, which will be great. Okay. Anything you guys want to add? Is this out of the realm of possibility in terms of what we can do?
No, not at all. I have one thing that I wanted to ask is I saw that there was, I think it's Wednesday or Tuesday. You have speakers. I think the afternoon session you have some speakers, and I think on Wednesday as well you have some speakers. Have you already taken a list of ideas of people that you want to invite to discuss something? Or to speak?
I've got a couple of ideas, but I want to go over those with you guys, not in public session.
Sure.
And it's also the question of number one, who we can get, and also making it an interesting issue related to what we're trying to do here in terms of the degree piece. I mean, I don't want to. I kind of want to focus us in on the degree development piece here, but then again, there's some interesting opportunities to deal with, adjunct issues, etc. But student debt pieces. So it's a question of, what track do we want to take? Do we want to make this more of a faculty retreat type of situation, or do we want to make it more of a maybe Thursday and Friday are more general ed issues that we bring up, and we can have some really interesting discussions and speakers there. So yes and no is the answer to that one. Anything else, Dan?
No. My thought is that general ed would kind of get the conversation going and might be better at the beginning with a big group sort of intro time, and then you break out into, after you can kind of get your wheels turning on, like, why are we requiring this, or why would we put this next to this, then you break out into your more precise or focused groups and say, okay, so we just did all this work together, and that person brought up that point of including this requirement, so I think for our discipline, maybe we want to consider, going off of that. But that's just, I'll type that into this document once it's on Dropbox and just have the thoughts in there on writing.
Okay. Yeah, I think that would be good. I'm not wedded to any
right.
To anything. Oplernopolouza's agenda item is now on the Dropbox on a separate file at the top listing of Oplerno. Yep. Okay. I don't think there's anything. Okay, let's talk about the blog, the discussion, the community outreach piece. You know what? Let's take that. I'd like to keep that in private session. So let's go the last two items that we've got in here in private session, and call an end to the public piece.
Okay.
I've got to get my power cord.
Okay, I'm turning myself now.